What's up, everyone? Hope you're doing well. This is the second mock draft I've put out. This was actually supposed to be the third. I recorded a whole second one. It was like the greatest thing you've ever seen. It would have made me millions of dollars, gotten millions of views. I would be the #1 YouTuber right now. Everybody would love me and my life would just be perfect, but then the file corrupted naturally, so I didn't get to post it. And, everyone still loves me. I just have less subscribers, so. But anyway, we're back here for the official second mock draft, unofficial third mock draft. And so, let's just, I think we're going to be a little bit crazy in the top 10 today. I had actually just started a mock draft before this, and then I was like, no, this kind of sucks. It's too boring. So I kind of wanted to make it fun a little bit and mess around a little bit. Within reason, obviously. Like, I don't want to, F it up where it's completely unrealistic, but I want to kind of push the boundaries a little bit and do some interesting stuff. So, but that interesting stuff will not be at #1. We're going to take Caleb Williams. If you want anything on Caleb Williams, you could look at my analysis video. I mean, for a lot of the guys kind of in the top 10, I'll more be talking about the process, and then later in the draft, I'll kind of talk about the players a little bit more, because I don't have actual videos on them, and I'd like to get my opinions out on them. But, most of these guys, like in the top 10 or 15 or so, I have videos on, so you could kind of just see. Maybe for specific teams, I'll discuss why they should go there. But everyone's picking Caleb Williams to the Bears. Excellent quarterback prospect. The best I've ever watched, even though I haven't watched that many so far. I've only been scouting for a few years, but I think he's going to be an incredible player. Now we get to pick #2, where we have the Jayden Daniels Topgolf beef going on right now, which is like cracking me up. If you don't know anything about that situation, the Commanders took their individual visits and put them all together and just made 30 of the prospects go to Topgolf together, and they just watched them play Topgolf. And apparently Jayden Daniels is very upset about this because he thought that it was just going to be an individual visit. And, he might have failed the test. I don't know. I don't think that's enough to really make them not take him at 2. If it's me personally, I'm probably taking Drake May or JJ McCarthy. I actually do have Jayden Daniels rated higher than McCarthy right now, but I've definitely been much higher on McCarthy lately. I don't know if people are just kind of getting to my head a bit, but I also did watch more film on him, and I've liked him a lot more recently. If you go to my McCarthy video, you'll see me not arguing, I shouldn't say that. You'll see me kind of discussing with people in the comments about his upside, and I was saying that I didn't really agree with their take that he had more upside, and I think I've kind of come around to their position a lot more. That's just kind of how life is. You gain more information, you either change your position or you become stronger in your beliefs, and I felt that I had perhaps not given him as much credit in my initial video as to his full upside, so I see a bit more upside there, and I think he'll be a great player. Do I still think he'll go at #2, though? No. So I'm going to kind of go a little bit chalk just for pick #2, just because it opens the door a little bit for us to do some interesting things after this. So I'm going to go with Jayden Daniels going to the Commanders here. And, just because it's chalk doesn't mean it's still not a good pick. He's excellent mechanics and everything to make accurate throws. He has a okay arm, not really great, but obviously he brings a high floor to an offense with his rushing ability. He's just got to stay healthy. Like, the guy just takes some nasty shots. I mean, I could actually throw up on the screen here the shot that he took against FSU, and the reason why I bring it up is because I saw a play the other night that cracked me up so bad, because it was just the exact same play, but by a way less athletic quarterback, and he just kind of dives, and the guy grabs him at the legs, and he just falls into the ground. I'll put it on the screen now, but it just cracked me up because it was like the Walmart version of the Jayden Daniels play against FSU. I'm kind of rambling, but honestly, if you don't like it, leave. We're just trying to have fun here. Now we're on pick #3. I am going to be trading up with the Giants, and we'll talk about why. Drake May is seen as a guy who's kind of similar to Josh Allen, right? Like, he's, has all the tools, super high ceiling. He just needs to kind of be more consistent and put together his footwork and make the layups, do the easy stuff. And that was exactly the type of stuff that people were saying about Josh Allen when he was coming out. And I'm not trying to think, I guess, from my perspective of Dable can make Drake May into Josh Allen. I'm trying to think from their perspective a little bit and think we've done this before. We've had this project in front of us, and we made it into that team that got us this job, basically. Like, him and Joe Schoen personally watched Josh Allen become the player that he was, and obviously Daboll had that hand in it as his quarterback coach. And I think Daboll might, I don't know Brian Daboll obviously, but like, I could picture a situation in which a person is like, you know, I've done this before, and if I could just do it again, it's like I could have exactly what I had, but now I'm the head coach and I get all the credit for the wins and everything like that. And it's like, we have that young guy. It's like, we have our Josh Allen. It's like, we're doing this all over again in our own spot on our own terms. And we have like our own version of, you know, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And I could see that really kind of, I don't want to say clouding their vision because it makes it seem like it's a negative thing, but like, I would be influenced by that argument, I think, a little bit. It is kind of an emotional argument. It's not as pragmatic as like, okay, well, he's a completely different person with, you know, different, you know, similar flaws, but different flaws, and, you know, different mindset coming from a different place on a different team in a different situation. So you obviously have all those things to work out, but, you know, humans make emotional decisions. I said that like I'm like a fucking robot or something, which I am. But I don't know. I just really like the idea of that. So I'm going to trade up with the Giants. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really care about the trade compensation that much. I'll try to make it somewhat realistic. I don't know. They're probably going to have to give up another one. But, you know, ultimately, I don't really care about, like, we're doing one round. And, you know, think of the best trade that you would want if you're a fan of either of these teams, and then just imagine that trade here, and then we don't even have to waste time talking about it. So, there you go. Giants up at 3. They're going to take Drake May. And then the Cardinals. I think here it's pretty obvious. Well, not pretty obvious, but it's the chalk thing to do. But again, this opens us up a little bit. We've already gone off chalk here with the Drake May pick, but we're going to go a little bit further with it afterwards, because I kind of see some interesting things happening. But the Vikings and the Cardinals. Vikings are going to trade up, giving them 11 and 23. And then we'll say like a 4th rounder next year. Like, I have no idea. Like, again, picture the trade that you like the most, and then picture it here, and then that's exactly what happened. And then you could go in the comments and be like, damn, you got such great value out of that trade. That's exactly what happened. Okay, so now the big thing is that this opens up the Cardinals. It gives them those 2 extra picks, and then we get, as the Vikings, JJ McCarthy, who's excellent throwing over the middle. Great leader. He's going to be a great guy in the locker room for the Vikings, obviously, if they do take him in real life. But, you know, in our hypothetical scenario here, he could lead the team, come in after Kirk O'Chains and, you know, pick apart the middle of the field and make the easy throws. And, you know, he has that upside to kind of work the sidelines and learn how to throw a little bit better with touch with Kevin O'Connell. And who is better to learn with than fucking Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson, and the GOAT KJ Osborne. So, like, that's a hell of a situation to throw a guy in there too, who already has like good upside and who already has a great mentality and a hard work ethic. And, you know, he doesn't have like, you know, a lot of the flaws with him are just like kind of things that he didn't do that much, but it's like we don't really know if he could do it because we just didn't see it that often. And I'm not trying to just repeat narratives here, but it is true. Like, I mean, I made a big stink in my video about how he didn't really throw well with touch towards the sidelines, but it's like, yeah, when he did it, he didn't do it super well, but it was such a low sample size that I can't say definitively that like he's like unable to do it. It could have just been like, you know, maybe there were like pressure on those like 12 plays or something, and he, you know, sped up his process, and it's like, all right, well, if he gets like the whole pressure thing worked out, then it's like, boom, like he'll be a great touch thrower or something like that. I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. And if you don't, just ask, and I'll try to explain myself in the comments. So now we get to the Chargers, and this is where I'm really excited to make a move, because I want Marvin Harrison Jr. on the Cardinals. I think that he is such a great fit with Kyler Murray and a great fit into that offense. He rounds out their receiving core, because then you have Marvin Harrison Jr. and you have Michael Wilson. the Beast, the player who I actually put out my first video on, who actually inspired the making of this channel, because I was so high on him that I wanted it documented that I liked Michael Wilson, and that has pretty much spawned this whole channel here. And if you're confused as to what I'm talking about, this is the second channel, so it wouldn't be on here. It's on the main channel. But I think there's like 27 subscribers here, which I appreciate all of you guys. Trust me, I really do appreciate that. But I was just saying that I don't think that there's anybody who's here that doesn't also know of the first channel's existence. So anyway, I'm going to have the Cardinals. PFF says they're not interested. I don't really care what PFF says. Trading up. Now, this trade does matter because it affects the rest of our draft here. I think they're obviously going to have to give up 11. I guess the question is whether they're going to have to give up 23 or 27 in this scenario. Again, like, I don't really care as much about the other picks. Like, I'm just trying to focus on this mock draft here. I mean, 5 is a valuable pick, but also, like, you had all, like, most of the quarterbacks come off the board, and unless, like, somebody's trying to really trade up for Bo Nix or Michael Penix, it's like you're not really getting, you're not fighting off those teams as much. I mean, somebody could be trying to trade up for MHJ, but I think we're going to go with 27. Yeah, damn, this is... Okay, who cares? I'm going to go with... okay, clearly I care because I'm arguing about it so much. I'm going to go with 27. We'll do the old 4 straight here. And then... Yeah, I should have gone with 23. Whatever, who cares? I do. We're going to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. for the reasons I just talked about. Or as one of the judges says very often, for the reasons stated on the record. So here we go. Here are the Patriots. This one is also a pretty easy pick to me, unless there's somebody who wants to trade up. I think it could be interesting with the Chargers trading back into pick number 6 to try and get Malik Neighbors. Like, he could be a dynamic player on that team. But I also think that the Pats are going to want to stay put and draft him, because they have nobody, and he's the type of guy who, if you just get the ball into his hands, he can make a lot of stuff work. So I do have an unpopular opinion about Neighbors, and I'll throw it out there real quick. This was originally in my Neighbors video, and then I cut it because I'm kind of a bitch, and I didn't really want... It's a very unpopular opinion, but I've seen more people kind of say it recently, so now I'm a bit more comfortable saying it. I should probably just be a bit more confident in these takes sometimes, even if they're going to blow up in my face. But I don't think he's going to be as good as people say on the outside in his first year or two. He doesn't have a very diverse release package. He doesn't really create space that well for himself off the line of scrimmage. And he just takes press so badly. Like, when they actually get hands in his chest, he gets, like, boofed. Like, it really, like, it could destroy his routes at times. And he's a smaller guy, and he's lighter weight. Like, I mean, is that to say he's a bad player? Absolutely not. Like, if they throw him in the slot and they, you know, have him run routes from the slot, and, you know, he's working in the slot for his first year, and he can kind of develop all of those other things on the side, like, he can become an excellent receiver on the outside. It's just that I don't think he's going to be as good immediately as people say he's going to be. Ultimately, I think that he does bring a good floor to the Patriots offense if they want to take, like, you know, a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix later on, because, like, they have nobody else to throw to, and if they kind of just get the ball in Neighbors' hands, like, he can make shit work for them. So there we go. Now, Titans fans, at number 7, you're going to be pissed at me because I'm going to go with Joe Alt. I know it's annoying having the same guy mock drafted to you every single time, but it's for a reason. It's just such a clear-cut pick. Like, he has so much upside, and then pairing him with Bill Callahan will make him like an elite tackle probably, and their offensive line is booty cheeks. So there you go. There's no other reason that you really need that explained, and if you're upset with it, then make fun of my biggest insecurities in the comments. I won't tell you what they are, but, you know, try to guess. But we'll go to pick number 8 now with the Falcons. And the popular pick here has been to pick Dallas Turner at edge rusher. I do like picking edge rusher. If I were them, I would probably go with Quinyon Mitchell. As you can see from my other second channel video, I'm very high on Quinyon Mitchell. I think he's going to be an elite cornerback. I love him. personally. For the purposes, I mean, I'm kind of doing a mixture of like what I would do / what I think the teams will do, just depending on each pick. And, I think that Dallas Turner going to the Falcons is chalk for a reason. Like, he kind of fits what they want there. Like, especially it's like that Saints old staff, like, he doesn't have the size. By no means he does not have the size of the players they usually like, but he kind of plays like the players that they usually like. Like, he plays kind of like a power rusher and a speed rusher's body. I think that does create some problems for him sometimes. Maybe they might like Jared Verse better. Like, I think that he is like the Saint. Like, he fits like, that mold of edge rushers better. So I could see the Falcons liking him a bit better. Before I make that pick of Dallas Turner going there, because I think that I would ultimately go with Turner, though, just because he has the traits. Actually, I'm kind of interested, though, because they picked Arnold Ebiketie, so it's like they already have or Ebiketie or whatever. They already have kind of like a guy who's like focused on pass rushing, whereas Verse, I think, could be a little bit more well-rounded in his skill set. So I am interested to see how that would go, but maybe somebody would be interested in trading up. Like, I could see the Jets being interested in trading up for Rome Odunze. I think pairing him with Rodgers would be awesome, like on those like back shoulders. That'd be so sick. Somebody maybe trying to trade up for Byron Murphy or something, like that'd be cool too. Fuanga's still there. Fatanu. Oh, man. I know it's great video making to just be completely ambiguous and not know what I'm doing. But, I want you guys to see the process. So I think I'm going to go... I think I'm going to do a pick that I wasn't prepared for here. Not that I really prepare for these, but I like to kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do. But I'm going to go with Jared Verse here. So if you watch chess at all, I'm out of my prep now. And if you don't, then you have no idea what I'm fucking talking about, probably. And actually, it's kind of self-explanatory. It just means like you're out of what you've prepared for. So we're playing a completely different game here. We've got Jared Verse going at 8, and I kind of like that pick better for them because he's a pretty high floor guy. Like, he could definitely develop more moves, kind of have like a second plan when his first plan doesn't work, but he's a super powerful guy, so he fits what they want there. And they already have like a guy there who is like a really good pass rusher, or not like a really good, but I more mean like they already have a guy there who's like designated to be a pass rusher. And not that you can't have more than one, but it's like, just to kind of round out that line a bit and kind of get like a high floor guy in there, because I do think that Dallas Turner has a little bit of bust potential because of what I just mentioned, in that he's kind of like a power rusher and a speed rusher's body. It does make it a little bit weird for him. So moving on, we're going to go to the Bears. The popular pick had actually been Jared Verse a little bit, and there was also Odunze, mostly Odunze going there as well. Again, I would be interested in Mitchell going there, but like I'd really want to fix up their defensive line a bit. But I love the Odunze pick to them, specifically just because I know that it's probably not going to make a huge impact in year one, just because they have Keenan Allen there, and they have DJ Moore, and they have Cole Kmet. Not to say that that's like elite weapons or anything, but it's definitely a good situation. It's not a situation in which you need to spend the number 9 pick on a wide receiver, especially if you could really use some help on the defensive line. But I just really like the Odunze pick because, one, like, I don't really want like a 33-year-old receiver to stop me from drafting somebody who could probably be the number 1 wide receiver in other drafts and who you can get at pick 9. And another guy who like really rounds out your receiving core, because like he does what DJ Moore generally doesn't. Like, he's like great contested catch guy, great, at like these back shoulders and stuff. Not that DJ Moore can't do that stuff, but it's like it's not as much DJ Moore's game. And it's like you're just giving him a lot of different options there. And I think that you're really setting him up for success, and then you're also just getting like young guys in there to grow and develop together. So we're going to go with Odunze. Now, at pick number 10, we get to my lowly Jets. As you can sense the tone, you might think that I'm upset with Brock Bowers being the consensus pick here. And I am and I'm not. It has nothing to do with Brock Bowers himself. I love Brock Bowers. I think he's a great prospect. And if he goes to the right team, he'll be a great player. It's just that I do not trust Nathaniel Hackett to call an offense that is conducive to Brock Bowers being a good player. Brock Bowers is a great blocker for his size. You know, he's extremely athletic for a tight end, hard worker, you know, all this stuff people say about white people, like scrappy and all that crap. But genuinely, like, he is, he's really excellent after the catch, too. I think, if I remember correctly, he had like 17 missed tackles forced, which was second in the nation. I know he was second. I just can't remember the exact number. I'm pretty sure it was 17. I did that off the top of my head, by the way, just because I had done the draft storylines video, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in there. Which, if you haven't checked out, I'd really appreciate it if you guys did, just because I've spent so much time on that video and effort, and it would really mean a lot to me. But Bowers, not that he'd be a bust by any means, but it's like, if you want to take a guy at 10, you want him to reach his fullest potential, and I cannot see a world in which Nathaniel Hackett does that. But I also think that the Jets, like, they're not going to be, like, if you're in that situation, I don't think that you should ever keep somebody on your staff if you don't trust them. Like, if you don't think that they're going to be a good member of your staff, then they shouldn't be there. So I would think that they trust him to be able to do it. So I think that they're going to wind up taking him anyway if it gets to this. I personally, like, not trusting Nathaniel Hackett. I would prefer if they went Fashanu, just because I think he'll be an elite pass blocker, and we need one, especially in this kind of win now phase that we're in with Aaron Rodgers. So, but I think that they're going to go with Bowers here, and it's kind of a bit more in line with the most recent mock drafts, so we're going to go with Bowers. Now, we've got the Chargers. Now, I know that, you know, a decent amount of this was chalk. Like, Drake May going here wasn't. The Cardinals maybe trading back in wasn't. I think that a lot of people tend to have the Pats, like, moving back out. First wasn't really chalk either, but, like, you know, it's like not like super crazy or anything. And like I said, I'm not going to try to be like crazy, but I'd like to, like, you know, mix it up a little bit within reason. And I think we're going to do that a bit more with these picks, just because, like, you know, like I said, within reason, it's like you have less options at the top. Well, I mean, obviously you have more options, but you also have less in the sense that it's like there are only so many players that are worth that pick. So you're not going to, like, really, like, I'm not going to fucking take, like, I don't know, Jalen Polk in the top 10. No offense to Jalen Polk. It was literally the first name that I saw. But, yeah, so we're going to go with the Chargers now. I like the Byron Murphy pick to them. They need an interior defensive lineman. I think that's really just too easy. The guy can fucking, like, do anything. He could play nose tackle for you. He could play 3-tech. Like, it's pretty crazy the kind of stuff he could do. I'd kind of like if they could get Fuanga and maybe move him inside. Or, you know, there's been talk about Fautanu going there. But I think that I like Murphy going there better. Although, Jim Harbaugh, big run the ball type guy. And that couple words could be the logic for going with Fuanga, which I think he would really like Fuanga. I think he'd also like Fautanu. But I think that he would like Fuanga, and they could kind of replace Pipkins inside and get this mauling run blocker. You know, I'm going to do it. We're going to go with Fuanga at pick 11 to the Chargers. He's just going to blow up people, and yeah, I love it. All right, Broncos. Do we have Cooper DeJean and Riley Moss paired together and then have two white cornerbacks? That'd be sick. I don't think Riley Moss is definitely not starting, but, like, they could do it for the meme and it would be awesome. But I don't think they're gonna do that. Now, I think that they need an edge rusher. I would definitely be interested in them taking Dallas Turner here. Now, obviously, they need a quarterback. I think we'll maybe address that a little bit later. I kind of like, I think that somebody would probably try to move up for Dallas Turner here. And I am very interested in that proposition. And I think somebody who would love Dallas Turner is our good friend, Trent Baalke. So we're going to go with the Jags, trading up to pick number 12 to go get Dallas Turner after he slips a little bit from, his consensus spot at 8. Okay, again, I don't really care too much about the trade value. Again, picture the best trade possible. If you love the Jags, picture the best trade for them. If you love the Broncos, picture the best trade for them. Just input it in there, and then if you don't care about either of them, we'll just fucking talk about the picks. Let's go, boys. All right, now we got the Jags on the clock. They're going to take Dallas Turner. They got Josh Allen. You get, oh man, you push Trayvon Walker inside. Get Dallas Turner on the edge. Get Josh Allen on the edge. Arik Armstead too. Oh man, that's going to be fucking monstrous. And that would be beautiful. I know that they need a cornerback too. Like, in theory, they could have traded up to get Arnold or just like sat back there and let somebody fall to them. But no, we're not doing that. Dallas Turner going to the Jags at 12. I love that. Raiders now. Now, you might be saying, I thought you liked Quinyon Mitchell a lot. Why are you not taking him? Because I want him to go to the Colts, and because I said so. Like, if you don't like the logic, I'm sorry, but he is a Colt to me. Like, I don't see a scenario in which, there's just some guys, like, in this draft that I see, and I'm like, it would be so hard for me to picture them in a different uniform. And I'll probably tell them to you as you guys go, just so that I could probably go like 0 for 5 or whatever it is on these certain guys, and you guys can make fun of me forever. But he just seems like somebody who would be on the Colts. So I just really want to pick him to the Colts. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Now, they got Christian Wilkins. I think Kuntz, I think his name is. He had a pretty good back end of the season last year. Max Crosby obviously is a beast. So I think that they're going to want to focus a little bit more on the offensive line. I think that the Raiders would just really like Troy Fautanu, just like mauling player. I think I'm actually a little bit higher on him now than I was when I put my video out on him too, which is kind of the problem with the videos is like, obviously it has to solidify my opinion at some point in time. Like, I don't have the time 2 days before the draft to make 50 different videos and then release all of them and like give you like my most recent opinion. But like, as you guys understand, obviously, but it's just like kind of annoying because like I'll kind of change my opinions on guys a little bit after like I'll drop videos because I only have access to a certain amount of tape. But I think that Fautanu here, being like a mauling run blocker with like a vicious mentality but like excellent movement skills, I think that he would be a good fit there for them. And I think the Saints, it's especially with Jared Verse off the board, like this is too easy for them to go Fashanu here. Trevor Penning, that experiment has not worked out very well for them. And Fashanu's an excellent run blocker. Excellent pass blocker. And they might not love his run blocking, but I think that he'll be able to develop and they'll make it work for them. So I'm not too worried about that. As I alluded to before, we got Quinyon Mitchell going to the Colts. They love their traits guys. They love their small school guys. They picked a dude from Wagner College last year, which I just thought was funny. Titus Leo, I think his name was. Shout out Titus if you're watching. Quinyon Mitchell, I think, is an elite corner, as I talked about before. You could just watch my video on him. I love him. Excellent ability to break down the ball. He can play man or zone, but he works best in zone, so he just fits so well in Gus Bradley's scheme, and he's that traits-based guy that they love. Like, he's just a perfect fit for them. So I love that pick there. And now we get to the Seahawks, where I really like Troy Fautanu going there, but obviously he's off the board now. I would be interested in having like Latu go, perhaps, but I think that they really need help on the interior offensive line. I don't really know too much about their offensive line preferences, to be honest. Like, I could see them taking Barton because he kind of has that versatility, but also like Latham to me is a guard just because he has such heavy feet. It kind of makes it hard for him to keep up with guys around the edge. And I think that he could wind up being a really good guard. So, he doesn't have that versatility like Barton does to kind of kick into center, but I think ultimately he could wind up being a very good guard for them. So I'm going to go with Latham to the Seahawks. And now we get to the Broncos. They I mean, I still like them picking like a couple different guys here, but I also noticed Terrion Arnold's on the board, and we can do my second thing here. Again, just, yeah, I feel bad for Broncos fans because they're going to see like, oh, we traded back twice and we got literally nothing because I didn't trade anything else to them the other time. So we'll give them like a, 53rd if it makes you feel good. We're going to trade up because another guy who I just picture on one of the teams is Terrion Arnold going to the Eagles. Where is he? Okay. He is an SEC player, and that's all you need to know. No, but that's not it, really. They're notorious for drafting players a year before they really need them, and they have 2 starting cornerbacks, but they're both old, so they'll probably need a cornerback next year, and they were both declining in play last year. They're also notorious for always taking high-value positions in the first round, and they're also notorious for taking SEC players all the time, and Terrion Arnold fits all 3 of those. I think that they're going to love him, so I just picture him in an Eagles uniform every time I think about him, and if he goes anywhere else, I will cry. For unrelated reasons, but I'll just happen to cry. It'll just be like coincidental. Bengals, now we're going to go Amarius Mims. I know that this is also kind of a chalk pick, but it just kind of works out because they have Orlando Brown there, so they just have like the most monstrous offensive line ever. And I am very high on Mims. I think he can be an elite tackle. The problem, obviously, is that he is very injury prone. Even in games that he played, he was rotating out all the time, which was frustrating from a film watching perspective. He is a beast, like when he's on the field. He's not like, this underdeveloped guy or whatever. He got on there and he was a very good player. It's just that he needs to stay healthy. And he is built crazy for his size, and he's huge. So he has like the athleticism and the size to keep up with guys and not let them get past him. And I think that he could really be one of the best tackles in the NFL at some point. Maybe you don't want to take the risk on the injury guy, but like, I don't know. It's like we've already had so many tackles go off the board at this point. It's like you don't really have much of a choice unless you want to play Grant Barton at tackle, which I personally don't think he's a tackle at all. Unless you want to play Jordan Morgan at tackle, which I personally don't think he's a tackle at all. And then Tyler Guyton is just completely unrefined. I mean, big flashes of great play and then flashes of horrendous play. So, yeah. But we're going to go the Rams now, and I really like the idea of them. Now, this is not... Oh, wait. I was going to say I really like Laiatu Latu, but I also really like Nate Wiggins going here. Ooh, that is intriguing. Latu is like a pretty popular pick going there, and I could see why. Like, I don't think they need interior defensive line as much as some people say. Kobe Turner is a beast, and he was one of my favorite players in the draft last year, actually. I think he was like my 4th defensive tackle or 3rd, something like that. Suffice it to say that I was very high on him, so I was not shocked when he went in the 3rd round, and I think I put in my video that I was very happy, or that he was one of the best picks of day 2, in that grading the day 2 thing. But not that you don't need more than one interior defensive lineman, but it's like they have their 3-tech already, and both of these guys kind of fit mostly in the 3-tech mold. So it's like, you get Latu over there and kind of put him with Young, and you have like a pretty good edge rush. Like, especially like what I said in my video about him, he's excellent at creating pressure, not so much finishing. And Byron Young, no offense to him, is kind of like the opposite. He is not amazing at like creating his own pressure, but he's very, very good at finishing other people's pressure. And then Kobe Turner is like right in the middle, like he can create and finish. So it's like, that would be an excellent pairing. But I also just really love Nate Wiggins going there, because they need a corner, and Nate Wiggins, I know he's skinny, but I think that he would be really good for them. That is really tough. Okay, I was just talking about how much I loved Latu there, so I think we're still going to go with it. We're going to go with Latu here. Okay, so now we have the Steelers, and the popular pick for a long time was going with Jackson Powers Johnson. He apparently is like really falling on people's boards. Like, I still personally would make that pick. I think I'd pick him over Graham Barton, especially if you're going to put him at center. I think Graham Barton is actually a great player. I like Graham Barton. Well, I shouldn't say great. Maybe I'm like using the word too loosely. Like, I think he'll be a very good player in the NFL. But I think that Jackson Powers Johnson could be a great player if he stays healthy. So I would personally go with Jackson Powers Johnson. I still, even though like that report came out, like I still can't see any good reason like why they wouldn't go with Graham Barton or Jackson Powers Johnson. And so we're going to go with Jackson Powers Johnson here just because I said I think he has a bit more upside than Barton does. Now we get to the Dolphins, who reportedly met with Xavier Worthy. And it would be pretty fucking funny if they wound up picking Xavier Worthy. I mean, like, I don't know how teams would handle them. It would be insane. You know, the chalk pick here has been Graham Barton. Also, like, you know, they need interior defensive line after they lost Christian Wilkins. The problem is that, like, both of those groups are pretty thin. Where's the Dolphins' next pick? 55? Like, I could see them maybe being able to... Let's just see who we got here. You know, they could probably take, like, a good interior offensive lineman at 55. Like, I could see that, and it's like... You're, like, really reaching a bit on some of these interior guys. Now, I guess the question is... So, I think I'm going to go off chalk here. We're going to go with either Byron Murphy or Jer'Zhan Newton. I guess the question is, like... Personally, I think that Newton is a way better pass rusher. Not like way better, but a better pass rusher. But Murphy is definitely significantly more versatile, and he's a better run defender. So I guess it would kind of come down to a preference thing. I personally have Newton over Murphy right now, but not by like super much. So I think we could go with Newton. And then we have the Broncos, which... Broncos fans, you're gonna love it. You get the same pick 10 picks later. We're going Bo fucking Nix, baby. He is a Bronco. It's just like, it just fits too well. I mean, he's not one of those guys who like can't picture anywhere else. Like it's like a Quinyon Mitchell to the Colts and Terrion Arnold to the Eagles, like where I just like can't picture them going anywhere else. But I just think that it's like, it makes too much sense. They have Jarrett Stidham as their starting quarterback, and I know that they need other things. Like, certainly if Nate Wiggins is still here, like, oh man, that's going to be a tough pick, the next pick, Murphy versus Wiggins. But we'll get to that when we get to it. But Nix, I think, you know, he's just going to, he'll convert the easy stuff. And, you know, I think he has more upside than people give him credit for. Like, people are getting, like, really down on Bo Nix lately. Like, watch him fucking make some of these throws outside of the pocket. He could be a monster, dude. Like, I don't understand... I mean, not to say that he's going to be like an elite player or anything, but I think that he has more upside than people are giving him credit for. And I think that, you know, once he kind of gets comfortable in Peyton's scheme, like he can make some shit happen. And I mean, he's with Sean Payton, so if he winds up getting picked there. So I would be very happy with this pick if I were a Broncos fan, even though some of them are not, but I don't care. So now we get to the Cardinals. Oh, man, I can't really see Nate Wiggins falling this far in the draft. The problem with this draft is that there's so many guys who, like, I feel like should be in the top 20, but it's, like, too difficult to actually get them in there with some of the teams that pick there. They could go Graham Barton here as well, and it could be, like, a good pick for them, but I think the better pick... I don't know, like, I really like Murphy a lot going to the Cardinals, because they have like nobody on that defensive line, especially on the interior. I think like Dante Stills was like one of their big starters, and he was like a 5th or 6th round draft pick last year. But I also don't love their cornerback situation, but I think I'm gonna go with... Oh, this is so tough. I think I'm gonna go with Byron Murphy. I'll just make the pick. Okay. And then for the Cowboys, this is easy. They need a center. They just lost Biotish. Graham Barton, he fits in there really well. I don't see that him going to the Cowboys a lot. I mean, obviously Cowboys fans would probably know better than I would, because I just look at full mock drafts. I don't really pay that much attention to like team specific ones. So if you see him go there all the time, I'd actually be very curious if it's like a common pick, but I don't think I've ever seen him go to the Cowboys in a mock draft. So yeah, I think it's an excellent pick for them. They need interior offensive line. They're getting one. I mean, like, I think if Byron Murphy fell to the next pick, they would definitely take him. I could see them doing that on draft day if he winds up getting that far, just because the Mozzie Smith thing didn't really work out, and they still really need interior defensive line. They could also use like a I would be really interested in them going with AD Mitchell as well, because it's like a, CeeDee Lamb Jr. kind of thing. Like, that'd be pretty sick. And they also just lost Gallup. So, I mean, I could see the Cowboys doing quite a lot of stuff, but I think in this situation they might take Barton. So I think that's kind of where I lean. Now, the Cowboys, Cooper DeJean is like always the pick here for them every single time. But Nate Wiggins is usually not on the board. And I know that Trevor Sikkema, who puts together PFF's board, is like super high on DeJean. I am not as high on DeJean as he is. I have DeJean as I think he's tied with Kool-Aid McKinstry for my fourth corner. So it's like a 4A, 4B type thing. And I mean, some people might think that's ridiculous, but I think he's kind of tight in the hips, man. Like, I personally didn't find that he stayed in transition super well, or broke down to close on the ball super well either. Like, he would lose a step at times. Like, he struggled when comebacks would go in front of him. I mean, I think he could be a really good zone corner, but I think that the Packers are moving more towards man now, and it's then you'd kind of want McKinstry or Nate Wiggins. And it's I don't know if the Packers would take Wiggins. I don't know if he's their kind of guy just because he's so small. Small in terms of the weight. McKinstry seems like the type of guy who the Packers would take, but I don't really care because I personally think Nate Wiggins has higher upside. That might come back to bite me in the ass one day when he can't stay healthy, or he's just getting pushed around because he's too skinny. But I think he could be an excellent corner, and having him alongside Jair Alexander would be pretty sick. So we're going to go with Nate Wiggins. Buccaneers on the clock, and I can see them going McKinstry here. They definitely could use a cornerback. That is a position that they're going to need. They definitely could use an interior offensive lineman too. DeJean is... I'm going to pick DeJean here, and I'll tell you why. Because Trevor Sikkema is a fan of the Buccaneers, and he loves Cooper DeJean. So I know he'll never see this video, but I am still going to do it just to make him happy. And I also think that Todd Bowles, moving off the probably not great reason for that, Todd Bowles utilizing Cooper DeJean in a creative way and kind of getting him mixed around and lining him up as a linebacker, and then in the slot, and then on the outside, and then as a safety, and kind of making use of his skill set seems like a really cool thing for me. So I think that we're going to go with DeJean. Now we got the Chargers back on the board. They've already picked Fuanga, and why did I think that they picked another time? Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I should have given them 23rd before. I already forgot about that. Now I'm sad about it again, because they could have taken Byron Murphy there, who I was considering for them at 11. I think ultimately, if I had to redo that, I think the Chargers would be at 23, and the Cardinals would have stayed at 27. But I don't know. I don't have an excuse. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a piece of shit. What can I say? But we are back with the Chargers. Why do I feel like the board just got so much smaller? I don't know. So they need a wide receiver very badly, but I don't know if they're gonna take one. They already took Fuanga. I mean, I think that Harbaugh's going to want to round out their defense a little bit more. But I also just, they need a wide receiver so bad. And I don't love the idea of AD Mitchell going to the Chargers because, they're going to need him to be the number one right away. And I think he needs some time. And he also needs, another wide receiver alongside him to kind of, at least in my opinion, he needs, somebody who's, more veteran to kind of, teach him how to be an NFL player. And I don't like the idea of going somewhere where it's he's going to be he needs to be the alpha in the room from the second he shows up. And I think you're kind of putting him in a position to fail by doing that. But the problem is that he's the best wide receiver on the board to me right now. Thomas Jr., I think, is almost a little bit of the same thing, but in a different way. I don't think he needs to be so much shown how to be an NFL player, but he doesn't really run a diverse route tree, and he needs to kind of, work on, creating more space at the line of scrimmage and running some different routes. So, again, like, I don't really love having to have him as your alpha there immediately. I mean, I could see them maybe going with, like, Ladd McConkey or, Roman Wilson matching up again with Jim Harbaugh. Maybe we could trade this bad boy. Like, somebody want, like, AD Mitchell? Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. We're going to have the Chiefs trade up with their division rival. Probably not very realistic. This trade is lopsided. Okay, I'm aware of that. You're just giving up a pick for free. Yeah, well, I don't know. Round 2. I have no idea. Okay, I don't... Again, like, picture the best trade compensation and boom, it's there. I waste enough time talking about stupid crap here. I don't need to waste any more time talking about the trade value when I just be talking out of my ass. So I'm going to have the Chiefs trading up here to grab AD Mitchell. Because it's like, you know, he doesn't have that wide receiver type thing that I was saying before, you know, like kind of somebody to mentor him. But it's like, you know, he's going to have Kelsey there and Mahomes and like all of these other people. So I think that they would definitely be putting him in a position to succeed, and he can be, they know how to utilize his skill set where he'll be an excellent player. And also they jumped the Bills for him too, so sucks for them. Speaking of the Bills, I like Brian Thomas Jr. going here, but again, like, you know, if they had Diggs there still, like he would be like an excellent, you know, kind of complement to Diggs, and like it would give him some time to like kind of round out his skill set a little bit more. But you're putting yourself in this position again where it's like, who the fuck are they throwing to? Like, I'd be interested to see Ladd McConkey go there, because it's like, you know, you have like that underneath guy who's like super reliable and everything. Like Ricky Pearsall too. I'm actually pretty high on Pearsall. I think he's going to be an awesome player. I personally, like, I think that he's going to be, like, it's so hard to put him. I mean, I have both McConkey and Pearsall above Troy Franklin. No offense to Franklin. It's just such a great receiver class that it's hard to rank these guys. And I know some people are super high on Franklin, but I don't love his weight, and I don't love the fact that he had 9 drops last year. So to me, he's not a first-round player. Not to say that I can't see him working out, but I kind of think of him as like the same way that people think of Brian Thomas Jr., and then I think of Brian Thomas Jr. differently than those people, which is to say that, like, you know, he can win deep and stuff, and like he actually does have a very good release package, and you know, he's a fine route runner, but like he is too skinny, like way too skinny. He gets bodied at the line of scrimmage, and he's just not really great at making even like easy catches. So it's like I think that there needs to be work done there, and it's like, you know, that's always the difficult problem with the draft things. It's like, if the work is done, then hell yeah, like he could be a great player, but I have no idea if he can do the work. And it's like, even if he puts in the work, can he become way better at it to the point where he's a great player? I have no idea. But, you know, obviously I wish him the best of luck. But right now, that's the reason why I have McConkey and Pearsall over Troy Franklin. Now, getting back to the task at hand. Obviously, we're picking Blake Corum. Now, we'll go with Brian Thomas Jr. I think that they're going to need to get another guy to round out this. I mean, regardless of who they get at wide receiver, even if it were Marvin Harrison Jr., they still need another guy. Like, you can't just have one. So, I mean, they have Dalton Kincaid there alongside him, and I think Kincaid can kind of be that, like, really solid underneath option. And while Brian Thomas Jr. kind of wins over the top. So I think that's nice. Ooh, we could go Kool-Aid here. Now, I'd be interested, like, there's a lot of picks that I'm really interested in taking for the Lions. I know that they need, like, a lot of people like taking interior defensive line for them. There's, like, a really big kind of push recently, at least from what I've seen, because I've seen a lot of people talking about this, about them taking Marshawn Kneeland in the first round. I don't know if, like, something came out or if people just really like the fit. I mean, he seems like he'd be a good fit there. But, I mean, like, Kool-Aid's still on the board, and it's like they could use a corner, especially after all that shit that happened with what's his name, that guy who had like the arrest warrant out for him and all that crap. I can't super remember, but jeez, Yeah, I think I'm going to go... I was debating on going with Chop Robinson as well, and it's like, it kind of works because it's like you have Hutchinson, who's that like really high floor and high ceiling guy, and it's like you have Chop on the other side who can kind of just like, he's just like a bull in the china shop, like just making shit happen out there with this athleticism, and he can help kind of clean up some of these sacks. Like I'd really like to see that too, but like, oh man, I would find it very difficult to see them pass up on McKinstry because I think it's just like a guaranteed high floor player at a time in which like you're trying to make a postseason run. And I know that they need people to get pressure. Like they have the 61st pick, and it's not like super close. But like they're like they could probably get like I don't know. Let's see. Let's look at the edge board. Like, there's, like, a bunch of, like, guys here that they could probably get who I don't think... I mean, obviously, Chop has significantly more upside than some of those guys, but at least in the first year, they won't be, like, super different in terms of production. Obviously, they'll be different players, but, like, I don't think Chop is going to have, like, a super productive first year because he'll be developing on, kind of the stuff that he needs to work on. And I think for them, they're kind of in that, like, win-now phase, so I think taking Kool-Aid would be the better pick for them, and I just see him working there. So now the Ravens, I'm gonna go with Tyler Guyton. If anybody can develop offensive linemen, it's the Ravens. They are so good at developing offensive linemen, and they love these huge guys. Like they just took Daniel Faalele from Minnesota, I think, not that long ago. Like they like the big guys, and Tyler Guyton can fucking move, and he is like, I don't think, again, like he shows like some flashes of being a really great player, and then he also shows times of being a really shitty player, but he definitely has a lot of potential. So, he probably won't start in year one unless they really need him to. I know the offensive line's kind of decimated because they traded 2/5 of it to the Jets for some reason. I don't really know why. But, maybe they're just like really confident in the guys that they have because, they develop guys really well there, and they could make Tyler Guyton into an elite tackle because that's the ceiling that he has. It's really just a question of whether he can hit it or not. But if he was going to go anywhere, like I could really see him being excellent with the Ravens. So now we get to the 49ers. They really need interior offensive line. So we're going to go with Jordan Morgan there. He's just going to be like, in my opinion, he's like nothing super special. Like he's not going to be, no offense to him, like that's honestly probably one of the best compliments you could get if it follows up what I'm going to say, which is like he'll be like a good player. Like average to good. Like he's not somebody who you're going to be like, oh, we need to replace this guy every single year, but like like you could probably upgrade from him every year, but like he is just like a solid guy who's gonna, like have a couple snaps every game where he's not amazing, but the rest of the time he'll just be like solid. And that's what they need in the interior of the offensive line because they already have so much amazing talent on the rest of the team that they could just kind of make that work. So I like that pick for them. And now with the last pick, we get to the Chargers. Again, I've just been kind of trading back with them because I don't really know what to do with them. I'm still upset with myself about the whole Byron Murphy thing. We could have made it super awesome. Now I could see James Harbaugh perhaps going with his good friend Roman Wilson. Who did we take for them before? Fuanga. I always keep forgetting that. We filled the offensive line thing, and Chargers fans might be upset. Well, they already got a pick, so they might not be upset because I could see somebody, if they want Michael Penix, like we're gonna trade into the first round so we could get that 5th-year option for him instead of taking him in the second and then not getting the 5th-year option, even if we have to pay a little bit more upfront in terms of the contract. I do like them taking Ladd McConkey. I think that would be pretty sick to get him with Justin Herbert. But ultimately, I haven't made up my mind. Nobody's interested in trading. They could snipe the Panthers for Ladd McConkey because that is like the Lad McConkey destination right now. They'll have to go with a Slicky Rick Pearsall if they wind up taking him. I'm like really dragging this shit out. I like don't super know who to take here. Now, let's make this interesting. We're gonna have the Patriots come back into the first round again. They don't need to take it. Trade a 1, right? No, and they have 37. Like, we're good, boys. So we'll give them a 2 or something. I don't. Like I said, picture the best trade. Boom. Force this trade. And then draft a player. We're going to go with Michael Penix Jr. Wrap this bad boy up. Let's take a look at the draft so far. Now, I'm going to piss everybody off immediately. What? Okay, I don't know what that was talking about. I'm going to piss everybody off immediately because I don't think Michael Penix Jr. should go in the first round. Sorry, but that's just my opinion. You can watch my video on it. I still have the same opinion even after, I think, watching a little bit more film since after that video. Not to say that he won't be a great player, because he definitely can be. It's just that I don't think it's worth the risk of taking him in the first round. But that being said, I'm very happy with how this mock draft came out for pretty much every team. Like, there's not really a team that I'm, like, unhappy with the pick that they had. Because I know last time I kind of went through and I was saying, like, you know, there are some teams where I'm not, like, super happy if I'm them with where it fell. I mean, the Bills, although I really like Brian Thomas Jr., I wish that I had somebody a bit more well-rounded. But that was who fell to them, and they need a receiver, man. Like, so I don't know about Jared Verse going at 8. 8 for me for Verse is a bit rich, but I just think he fits what they really like, so I liked him going there. Maybe in reality they try to trade back a little bit for him. If I was the Jags, personally, I wouldn't trade up for Dallas Turner like I did, but I also just think that it seems like a bulky kind of thing to do. But, you know, there's not really many other picks that I'm, like, super not crazy about. But I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to think. I'm sure that plenty of people will rip me apart. Plenty of people will love it. Actually, people don't usually love it as much. But I'm just kidding. But I really appreciate you guys being here and watching this. And, you know, chatting with me. Make sure that you leave comments below because it kind of validates me just sitting in my room for an hour and a half just chatting with myself. Because otherwise, like, if I'm just talking and nobody actually comments anything, then it's just like, yeah, well, then I'm talking to myself. But if you guys comment things that it's, you know, I'm really talking to you, and that's pretty sick. So, and of course, I'll answer your comments and we can talk draft below. So, yeah, that's going to be it, guys. Later.